Here we mention the scientific revolution. In the scientific revolution, Alexander Pope says that everything in nature has a purpose and a design. And here in this revolution, the emphasis is to have order, to have harmony. Well, did you remember the King James II?
He is the son of Charles I.
Yes, well, James II escaped to France. Do you know why?
No, really? Why?
Yes. He escaped to France because the parliament called to the King William and the Queen Mary because James II was a Catholic king, so he moved all the things in that stayed in the parliament, and the parliament get angry with James II and decide to move and to put yes, to put the new king.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, did you remember the political parties?
Yes, the Tories and the Whigs.
Yes. The Tories, they are conservatives and they include all the aristocrats. And the Whigs, they support the war. They came from Britain and they are from the ruling class. Now, in the people section, did you remember the last section we talking about the Queen Mary and her husband, the King William?
Yeah, I remember.
Well, they came from England because the parliament called them.
Really? Why?
Well, it's because the last king, James II, he was a Catholic king and he wanted to move all the things that the parliament do.
Really?
So the parliament got angry with the King James II and he decided to escape to France, that we say.
Yes.
And the Queen Mary and the King William helped the parliament to get a good relation with the people.
Okay, these are the international news. In 1714, in Holland, Fahrenheit constructs a mercury thermometer for knowing the temperature, obviously. In 1715, in France, Louis XV succeeded to the throne. In Brazil was planted the first coffee in 1727. In 1735, in Russia, ballet school opens in St. Petersburg. In 1740, Prussia, Frederick the Great succeeds to the throne. In 1749, in Portugal, was invented the sign language. In 1752, in North America, Benjamin Franklin invents a lightning rod. In 1772, in France, Diderot publishes the first encyclopedia. In 1774, in France, Louis XVI succeeds to the throne. In 1775, in the United States, the revolution begins. In the same country, but in the next year, Thomas Jefferson writes the Declaration of Independence. In 1786, in Austria, Mozart's Marriage of Figaro was the first performance of this play. In 1793, Reign of Terror begins.
Boxing in London. While horse racing fulfilled the English aristocracy fashion for a blend of sports and gambling, the lower classes of the capital city now develops a sport at the equivalent popular level. Famous strongmen from different parts of the city fight against each other, set by their supporters who bet for the outcome. James Figg is declared champion of England in 1719. Jack Broughton was the champion in 1734 and 1750, who brings an element that are some rules. Each round will continue until a man goes down, racing for 30 seconds, and must fight again, or we will declare the loser. classified as used steam machine for sale, with young workers included to clean the parts of the adult cannot reach, perfect to improve your cotton clothes production. Butcher special, newborn meat for the special dinner. Get this advantage now for your Christmas reunions. You will be on the top in society with this exquisite meat. Go to your local butcher for promotions. And now, second-hand books. The first biography book named Life of Samuel Johnson, written by a little fan James Bowen, one of its kind. Read it from a stalker's point of view.
Now, talking about the local news, well, we have that the Great Fire of London happened in 1666. In 1685, James II becomes king. In 1688, the Glorious Revolution happened. In 1689, the Bill of Rights becomes a law. In 1707, Great Britain was created by the Act of Union. In 1714, George I becomes king. In 1726, Jonathan Swift publishes The Gulliver's Travel. In 1755, Samuel Johnson publishes Dictionary of English Language. In 1756, Britain enters to the 7 Years' War. In 1791, James Boswell publishes The Life of Samuel Johnson. Well, now we're gonna see a comic about the Gulliver's Travel and the explanation of how it was. Gulliver's Travels. In 1674, I was born in my father's small estate in Nottinghamshire, England. "What a fine, strong boy," said my father. "I think he will be a clever and good man like his grandfather." "I agree," said my mom. "Let's name him Lemuel, after your father." My childhood was very happy. I liked going to school and learning new things. But I often used to daydream about going to sea. One day, father asked, "Lemuel, have you thought about your future?" "I think you will be a good doctor." I wanted to please him, so I said, "Yes, father, I'll go to Cambridge University and study medicine." But as I spoke, I was thinking, at university, I can also learn things that will be useful to a sailor. After several years of study, I became a doctor. Not long after, I asked my sweetheart Mary to marry me. "Lemuel," she replied, "I will be very happy to marry you." Before long, we had children, a boy and a girl. They gave us great joy. I enjoyed being a doctor for the first few years, but then I became bored, and ideas of travel filled my mind. I imagined wandering the far-off places and seeing wonderful new things. "Mary," I said one day, "I need more adventure in my life. The captain of a ship about to sail has offered me a job as the ship's doctor." "Oh dear," Mary replied. "The children and I will miss you very much, and I'll worry about you. When will you come back?" "I don't know how long the journey will take," I told her, "but I promise I will return. And when I do, I'll tell you and the children all about my adventures." So in 1699, I set sail on the Antelope from Bristol. That city is a large and very old port in the southwest of England. From the dock, Mary called out, "Goodbye, and please be careful. Come back to us soon." The children waved me and I waved back. The captain was a good man and had sailed a great deal. "Welcome aboard, Dr. Gulliver," he said. "First we'll be sailing down the Atlantic Ocean and around the coast of Africa. Then we'll sail through the Indian Ocean to the South Seas." Our journey went well until one morning, somewhere near Tasmania in the South Pacific Ocean. "I don't like the look of these clouds," the captain said. "I think a storm is coming."
Within an hour, a violent storm began. The sea rose in great angry waves much taller than the Antelope. The wind, now as strong as hurricane, made a terrible sound. "The wind is blowing the ship, of course," shouted the captain. "Look out!" Suddenly, with a loud crack, the Antelope hit some rocks and broke in half. The sailors fell into the sea. Many of them could not swim. The ship sank quickly, and I suppose everyone but me drowned. I am an excellent swimmer, and swam with all my strength. My life depended on it, but after a while I was too tired to swim anymore. Just as I was thinking, "I'm going to die too," my feet touched the ocean floor. Slowly I strolled out of the sea. There were no signals of people on the beach and no houses. I could barely walk, so I lay down on the sand. Within minutes I fell into a deep sleep. When I woke up the next morning, I couldn't move. I must still be tired from all that swimming, I thought. But soon I discovered why I couldn't move. My body, arms, and legs were tied to the ground. Even my hair, which was long and thick, was tied down. I couldn't even move my head. How strange, I said to myself. I must be dreaming. The sun grew hot and shone in my eyes. All I could see was the sky. Soon I felt something crawling on my left leg. It must be a bug, I thought. It moved up my body almost to my chin. I looked down and to my great surprise saw a tiny man standing on my chest. He was about as big as my thumb, no more than 15 centimeters tall. In his hand he held a bow and arrows. I felt many more little men crawling over me, and astonished I shouted very loud, "Get off of me, you insects!" They all jumped in alarm and screamed in terror. Some of the little men fell right off my body. I tried to loosen the ropes that held me down. Although the ropes were very thin, like thread, there were hundreds of them. Finally, I was able to free my left arm. The tiny men began to shoot arrows at me. Several arrows landed on my head. Others hit my face and chest. "Stop that, it hurts," I cried out. I decided to lie still and see what would happen next. The little people gradually became brave and came near me. They built a platform beside my head. One of them, an official of some kind, climbed onto the platform. He started speaking to me, but his language was not like any language I had heard before. The little man seemed friendly now. "I'm so hungry," I said, but they didn't understand me. With my free hand, I used signs to ask for food. The men brought me baskets of many different foods. I also drank 2 barrels of wine. Another official spoke to me, making signs with his hands as he talked. I understood that they were going to take me to another place. I fell asleep again. Later, I found out that the wine had contained something that to make me sleep. I also learned about the island and what had happened while I slept. The island was called Lilliput. Its king lived in a castle in Mildendo, the capital city, which had high walls around it. The people made a huge cart and put me on it when I was asleep. I found out that it took 900 men to lift me onto the cart. 1,500 Lilliputian horses were needed to pull it. When we arrived near the city, the guards attached many chains to my ankle. Then they cut the ropes that tied me down. At last I was able to stand up and stretch, but because of the chains, I could not move about much. We were near a very large building just outside the gates of Mildendo. Well, I thought, it seems this building is to be my home. It was big enough for me to crawl into and lie down inside. From outside my new home, I had a good view of the countryside. The fields were tiny, like small flower beds in my garden in England. Even the tallest trees were only about 2 meters high. Lilliput was a beautiful place, and everything in it was unbelievably tiny. One day, the king and queen came to visit me. Soon, a large noisy crowd gathered because people were very curious about me. Some people pushed others out of the way to get a better look. They wanted to see me and hear what the
Karim,